Hey guys, it's JetRanger, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at the gorgeous Bell 206 JetRanger from FlyInside. Now, I was sent a copy of this aircraft by the developers. In fact, I had a good fly of it before it was finalised and released, and they're a wonderful bunch of people to work with, and they really care about this project and the quality of it. So I want to put that out there first, that I was working with them beforehand. Now, this aircraft retails at $37.95 for the helicopter, which is more than they had for their 47, but it's a little more complicated, let's be brutally honest. Now, the Bell JetRanger, of course, is a family produced by Bell Aircraft, both single and twin engine helicopters. This one's a single, of course. Now, this was, of course, originally manufactured by Bell at Mirabel in Quebec. Now, they produced the Army's light observation helicopters as well. It wasn't selected by them, it was redesigned and then marketed to the civilian industry. So the aircraft first flew on December 8th, 1962, and it ended production in January 2017, I should say. Over 7,300 were built. So a very, very, very successful aircraft in that regard. Now, we'll talk about the specifications, but unfortunately I only have these stats for the Long Ranger, which is the 206B L4. This is a 206, I believe, not a B. But either way, ballpark statistics here. An Allison 250 C20J turboshaft producing 317 shaft horsepower. And this one has a speed of about 104 knots max real speed here. And we're talking about a service ceiling of about 13,000 feet. Now, those statistics may be off. I'm looking at a different model of aircraft. I couldn't quite find the original model, this one. But what does she have? Well, we'll talk first that one of the team that's developing this, Rick, is a JetRanger owner. In fact, the sounds of this aircraft were taken from his aircraft. In fact, it was 3D scanned inside and out. So, in terms of proportions, it is accurate. The sounds are also accurate. They're from a JetRanger. Now, this has engine simulation. We have failures, hot starts, vortex ring state. The things we expected from their Bell 47, which set a very high standard for helicopters in the sim before we had helicopters in the sim. Now, all circuit breakers and switches function as one would expect. It's a full simulation, and you can fly this by the actual Bell manual. We have 20 plus liveries. We've got Chopper 1, if you remember that. We have LAPD, LAFD, we have news, civilian ones, the owner's aircraft is in here. So, an incredibly complex and really nicely put together aircraft. Let's take a little bit of a look around the exterior, shall we? Let's make sure I've slowed down my camera. Too much is the problem sometimes. So this is the LAFD model, or LAFD texture, shall we say. And my sim is being an absolute pig right now, so I apologise for any imperfection here. It's exhausting. My sim went from being flawless a couple of months ago to a potato these days, and my new build is just after Christmas. I've not had time to build it yet, so that's unfortunately my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. I was unsure about what the red there was on the mast and the edge of the blade, but it would be the paint. That would be an excuse as to what that is. Quality of modelling is very good. I will say the textures, they're good, but they're not perfect. I could find fault, and perhaps a little bit of rivet detail or weathering would be nice. But that's really all I can criticise on the exterior. The modelling does look very good. The detail is high, and the aircraft looks really nice. I'm just going to pop up flow, because this allows me to access all doors really conveniently. Although this may not work with the default door system, so we'll have to go inside and do it. In fact, can I actually access these hatches and panels? Because I know I'm meant to be able to access various hatches. Can I access these? I know there are meant to be panels and hatches I can access. Where are you? Because normally, being in the drone camera, I'm able to actually click on doors and things, but we'll pop inside for a second, take a look around the cockpit. We'll do it from inside, I think. Now, I have my electronics on already, so we'll just let that warm up and find itself some satellites. Obviously, we can control our doors from here. I wonder if flow will function now I've actually got it open. So it's not using the default door system, at least. That's a consideration there. We'll just fiddle our way back here. So we can actually access doors that way. Can I fiddle with some panels from out here? In interior camera. We can. Ah. We can open and fudge with things. Oh, nice. Okay. It's clearly photographic or scan texture there, but you know what? How often am I going to look that closely at a the inside of the turbine? Oh, that's the far side. Let's go over there, shall we? Now, I know some aircraft allow you to do it from the actual drone camera. This one apparently does not want to do that. I have to use the first-person camera and fly it around. So we have luggage in there, which is cool to have. Close that as well. I think I clicked a hatch on the opposite side of the aircraft by accident there, so pop that as well. Nice little playability functions. We'll turn sideways, we'll fly through and hopefully close whatever hatch we opened from the other side. Do excuse me in this regard. Did I open anything? I did not. Okay, so we can actually go back inside. Now, okay, we'll get back in the cockpit. We'll close the doors for a second. It's a bit breezy. Now, if I do open flow, I should be able to go to our camera options and show you what we have here, which is, where's that? My first page. Let's take a look here. So, pilot 1, pilot 2. A number of these do appear to be in the back, or front, or odd spots. Look at our exterior views there. That's inside. That's a pretty decent shot for a helicopter, actually. Move this out of the way. Got our side views. I'll go back to pilot 2. Nope, that's the one I wanted. Thank you very much. So obviously with the shift to...
Ground, November 11102.
That's not the right button.
For takeoff, departing straight out.
November 11102 taxi to and hold short of runway 23 using taxiway.
There we go. You know what? You're annoying. Just be quiet for a second. Thank you. Go away. Didn't need to hear from you right now. Okay, let's go through startup procedure. I'm going to follow the exact correct procedure from the manual here, so people don't yell at me. Now, obviously, I've suppressed the horn already because that's irritating. So, we'll need to make sure we have fuel, air, spark, and from cold and dark, we're doing this. So, battery's on. Generator switch needs to be in the start position, which is right here. Making sure all our circuit breakers are in. Those are the fuel ones. They are both in. The alternator is also the starter motor, so when you are started, you flip that back to start. Could you shut up a second? Oh, default brain mode there. Are you talking to me? Okay, yeah, I didn't want to go anywhere. Could you ignore me? I hate... This is why I hate the default sim ATC system. It is incredibly irritating. 1 to 2.8. Let me turn that radio frequency off. I'm not even tuned to it. Are you on crack? I hate the default sim. Okay, and let's go next step. Start position. So ensure throttle is fully closed. That would be here. We don't have a fuel thing to leave off here, but we keep the throttle closed. And we want to make sure our collective is down. So it's just past the gate. Okay. Right, so that is set to go. Throttle is fully closed. Fuel pump circuit breakers are in. Press and hold the starter button. Wait for N15 or N1 to reach 15%. And we will turn the throttle to 30%. So Okay, waiting for our N1 to come up to 15%. It's at 15%, so we're going to give it a little bit of... Wait for the idle release to pop up on the collective right there. Now we give it a minute for it to start warming up the turbine. Okay, TOT is climbing. Let's get 58% N1. That's coming up now. Once it's there, it's self-sustaining. I'll let it stabilize, and we'll talk about the aircraft. So, interior texture-wise, okay, I've hot started somehow. That's impressive, even though I followed the procedure precisely. Obviously, we have the FlyInside Heli Manager, which is a function or an external program. It doesn't have any other impact to your machine other than like the Bell 47. It's external. It allows you to set different conditions of the aircraft in terms of how it's going to fly. I have mine set to medium difficulty because I'm not a helicopter pilot and I'm bad at it. So I made sure that I have something reasonable set. You can obviously turn on failures, you can mess with governor settings, lots of options. Now, if this is on the marketplace like the Bell 47, that will be internal. So if you do not want external programs, you can probably get the version on the marketplace. I cannot confirm that. But their Bell 47, everything was inside the plane. Okay, so we need to switch our generator across to Gen. And we are self-sustaining. Okay. So, circuit breakers are in. Everything is good. Let's crash a helicopter, shall we? Oh yeah, it's a bit loud, isn't it? Should we put on our headphones? I think we should. I'll actually take these off for a second because we do get... Where is it? This one. You'll hear a definite change in tone of the sound when you have the windows open and doors. Put the headphones on. It's a little quieter here. We can actually hear ourselves talk. So let's get my head functioning here. And I'm going to bring the throttle up. Bring our rotor RPM up. Okay, rotor RPM's in the green now. Gonna bring us up to a little bit of a hover here. Okay, less of a hover. Oh god. Oh, that's a building. That's a mast. I'm bad at... Yeah, shut up. You're not my biggest problem right now. It's funny how I could fly a lot better when I'm not recording. So... It is a challenge, but helicopters are a challenge to fixed-wing pilots. I am not a helicopter pilot. I try, but I'm not. Quiet! Go away. There's not even an air traffic controller here or a ground controller at Bella Coola. Shut up. There's a guy with a radio in the freaking front desk at the coffee shop. Anyway, we'll circle around here. I love the sound of rotor slap once I get a bit too much roll in the aircraft here. It really does add to the kind of sound ambience. Now, so one thing I've always liked about FlyInside's helicopters is they really have great sound effects. Everything feels immersive in their aircraft. I particularly love their Bell 47's engine startup and the rotor slap. Oh my god, that piston engine sounds amazing. So, how does she fly? I'm not the best critic. I'm not a helicopter pilot, but given that one of the developers is an owner, I'm going to err on the side of it's accurate. Obviously, I'm flying at medium, so it's not exactly like the real thing would be. It's dumbed down for an idiot brain like myself. But it is enjoyable. I really loved their 47. I found that one decent to handle. This one I find a real challenge. I do not know the fundamentals, so it's hard for me to judge. But if you liked their 47, you will like this, because the attention to detail in how the aircraft behaves and functions is there. Now, would it have been amazing if the external textures were slightly higher up on the quality list? Yeah, it would. And it's not exactly a cheap price. However, what positives I can put in the column is system's attention to detail is incredibly high. options for flying at a much more manageable level, including an easier level, which is very manageable, even by an idiot like me. I like to challenge myself, so we've gone to medium, where we have engine failures on, and we have some other features like vortex ring state and overtorque. But it makes it a very approachable path to helicopters, and compared to the default sim helicopters, it is far more realistic. So if you really enjoy helicopters, I think this would be a good purchase for you, because it is a good quality helicopter. Let's be honest, external views, you're not going to be always that close, you're going to be further away. It looks great. You are going to be inside the cockpit, which does look good. Now, external, like I mentioned, the dimensions and appearance of the aircraft are perfect. It's a 3D scan, it should be accurate. This is not a model created in a couple of 2D views. So it does work very well. And yeah, people are going to say I was given a copy of this, biased viewpoint. I'm not a helicopter pilot, so I don't really have an onus to be falsely positive. Rick and the guys over at FlyInside have been nothing but wonderful people to me. They've been really nice. They've all taken criticism, and when they sent me a copy of this originally, they didn't just go, here you go, here, review this. They asked me for feedback as a simmer, as a sim pilot, as perhaps a lower end, not a helicopter pilot per se, someone who's less experienced with helicopters. They wanted my input, because they're obviously all experienced with helicopters, they make helicopters. I gave them my input, I gave feedback as a tester of sorts, and they were incredibly receptive to that. So they were willing to listen, they were willing to make changes and improvements, and they did. They've been very, very polite people to handle, and to deal with, I should say. Let's bring her in for a landing, shall we? Before I crash this thing into the ground and create a crater shaped like a Bell 206. Now, is this something I'd buy? Well, yeah, because for me, it's a nostalgic aircraft. This is one of the original helicopters from earlier flight sims, and they're iconic. You see them around all over the place. Obviously, we've got things like the Squirrel from Eurocopter, which are now a very popular aircraft, a very iconic aircraft of relatively similar vintage. But the 206 will always be very, very much a aircraft that I remember. It was in Grand Theft Auto games, it's in earlier flight sims like FSX. I remember all the FSX missions. I'm going to have to turn around and bring this back in properly here in a second, because this is too steep an approach angle. And I need all the room and setup I can get for a stabilised approach, because I am terrible with helicopters. Obviously, we've got the GPS is, of course, working title if you have that installed, which is the default sim one now, so you should. Instrumentation is very easy to view. I like it. I will say you get the warning beeps on startup regardless of what you do, so there's a silence button right there. You'll want to use that. I guarantee Rick is crying watching my flying of this helicopter right now. But I'm going to try and... I've once again come too close with this turn, so I'm going to have to turn it around and bring it back in again. I'll fly further down the runway and turn it around. Because my issue is always my approach angle, my approach speed. I tend to be very much a from above. In fact, there's a helicopter pad there, so we'll put it down there at the helicopter pad. Give it some pedal. I'm trying not to fly too slowly and end up in my own downwash, because that's how we get into vortex ring state. Now, it can auto-rotate. That is something they've specifically stated it can do. I don't know how to, so I'm not going to test it, because I have no idea. Okay, there's the helipad. I know the helipad's actually over on the main pad, so we've got room to the main pad. We'll go there. I'm not putting it inside a small fenced compound. That's exactly how I turn into a crater. So we're maintaining some forward velocity here. I'm going to be lowering the collective as I come in, reducing speed, but not too much. I'm wiggling. I'm over-controlling. That's my main issue. I'm also flying on a yoke, by the way. Can you tell I'm not a regular helicopter pilot? I'm on a yoke. The honeycomb system, which is not conducive to flying helicopters, I might add, but we'll go with that. So, hopefully you're at least going to laugh out of this video. There's the old fat H. I'm keeping it in my feet window. Duh! No, stop being weird. Little movements. Little movements. Little movements. Bit more collective there. Not trying to rise again. Not the south. Okay, you know what? It's inside the circle. We'll call it good. Okay. Okay, let's shut the engine down there. I'll take one successful landing as a win for me. Quiet. Silence, fiend. Systems are off. We'll return to the outside world. Which, according to this, is still very much a viewpoint. So we'll go away settings. Still getting used to this. So we'll go to drone camera there. Now I'll go find my controller for a little bit of a last thoughts and feelings and general attitudes. Where is she? She's here. The sounds are amazing. It's immersive. It's a wonderful experience. It is a challenge, which is enjoyable for me in the sim. I really enjoy a good challenge. Again, really the only criticism I could level at this fairly, with my own only qualifications regarding helicopters, is the external textures could be better. There could be a little bit more detail. Maybe a little bit of weathering. That's the only thing I could think of. Other than that, she flies wonderfully, even for my untrained, uncultured eye. And there's a huge variety of liveries, 20 plus, which is crazy. The level of simulation is extremely enjoyable for both experienced helicopter pilots and rookies. You can take it all the way up and down that scale. And it's one of those products like the 47 that I think I will keep in my library because it's something that I will want to master. Something that I want to fly on full realism with full everything. Because helicopters are cool. I have one request. Make a Huey next. Please. Or a Sikorsky 58. Is that the one I'm thinking? The Wessex? Yeah. A Huey or a Wessex. Or not the Wessex, the American one. Either way. This is cool. I really enjoy it. I think it's a good helicopter. Decide for yourself if you think the price is right. I think it's fair, given what they offer you. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.